Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Tickle here. So today, we are jumping into a new video essay, a BTS video essay done by my girl, Bora City Magazine. Um, and this one, the title says Gatekeeping a Mainstream Artist. Now that sounds like a great, topic to discuss since, the men's will be coming back, um, here shortly. And, they've gained a lot of new fans. And I've been seeing in comments and stuff, just all kind of nonsense and how, sometimes Army can come off as like they're gatekeeping and telling people like little shorts I've been seeing where you're only a true Army if you've done X, Y, and Z, which is, in my opinion, ridiculous. Okay, because especially when you're talking international, because K-pop culture and normal international culture for just non-K-pop is not the same. Voting and all that stuff is not that big of a deal on the Western end. You know what I'm saying? And just some other little stuff. But I'm curious how Bora gonna tackle this topic. So without further ado, okay, let's get it, let go.
For this video, I want to make the disclaimer that this is a BTS focused channel. I made this video as a fan of BTS and for other BTS fans to watch, so some of what I'll say may be applied to other fandoms as well, but keep in mind that this is a BTS focused channel.
Let them know.
In 2022, BTS released their anthology album Proof, a project that compiled their biggest hits from their career, as well as their favorite solo songs, B-sides, and unreleased demos. The reason for this big project was hinted and explained many times by BTS. This was the end of their first chapter, also known as BTS's Chapter 1.
We believe that this words opens the beginning of our new chapter.
BTS's Chapter 1 lasted 9 years, and it ended when it was time for them to start their military service. So knowing that this was coming, the BTS members prepared Chapter 2, a series of coordinated solo music projects released before their confirmed group reunion in 2025, all under the same label and never competing with each other.
어쨌든 챕터 2가 시작이 됐잖아.
How many armies actually waiting for the reunion in 2025?
근데 난
A whole
2025년
lot.
이렇게 기대되는 게 뭐냐면
25년이 가고 싶긴 하죠. 우리 그때면 또 모여 있을 거 아니야.
근데 25년에 나는 완전체로 투어를 할 수 있을 것 같다는 생각이 너무 들어.
So whether they were in the military, waiting to join the military, or out of the military but waiting for the other members, music by the BTS members was out.
Look at all
This
that
way,
music.
BTS's popularity kept increasing, even while on rest from group activities. Actually, they have grown so much that more than a third of BTS's entire fandom now has not experienced a BTS group release or promotion.
I am one of those people. November 2023 is when I started, and I would say by the end of November, beginning of December, I was Army, okay? It didn't take that long.
They discovered BTS during Chapter 2, the solo era. Because of this, the fandom has changed a lot. Chapter 1 armies saw BTS grow from a small group from an almost bankrupt company to the biggest band in the world. So Chapter 1 armies don't just know about the injustices, sabotage, and discrimination that BTS went through. They saw it happening firsthand. So although not perfect, for 9 years, Chapter 1 armies carried an enthusiasm for guidelines, practices, and rules of fandom etiquette. And whenever a mistake happened, Chapter 1 armies were present to learn from their mistakes. But unfortunately, the practice of these guidelines have debilitated significantly during Chapter 2, as more fans unfamiliar with the fandom's etiquette and lived experiences started joining.
이상한 소리 하시는 거 왜 이렇게 많아? 변했어요, 여러분.
Because of this, another practice has increased in the fandom: gatekeeping. In general terms, gatekeeping is the activity of trying to control who gets particular resources, power, or opportunities and who does not. gatekeeping used to be mentioned in the context of institutional power, but in today's pop culture, gatekeeping started receiving a more specific meaning. The Cut wrote in 2023, "The old fixated definition of gatekeepers as people with institutional power just doesn't resonate in an era where algorithms cater to our individual taste and any user-generated piece of content can become a viral sensation. Before, the gatekeepers of music, for example, were record executives in the 70s or MTV in the 90s. Now, however, we are all potential gatekeepers. We as an audience can sometimes decide which artist becomes popular and which artist does not. We can make a singer with no label go viral, and we can reject a project by a massive singer with a big record deal and an expensive promotion strategy. With this new power, listeners can gatekeep or limit the exposure and community that any artist creates." Business Insider writes, "Gatekeeping can also refer to people who maybe aren't hiding something tangible but are telling others they are not entitled to an opinion or behavior. The gatekeepers of music may not only tell new listeners that they are not real fans. Gatekeepers may also purposefully or accidentally sabotage certain aspects of the career of their favorite artist in the fear that they become too big, too mainstream." In the case of BTS, the successful solo careers of the BTS members during Chapter 2 have opened the doors to a lot of new fans unfamiliar with BTS's group dynamic. This is why some Chapter 1 armies feel the need to protect the community it was once organized and goal-oriented. But is this really helping protect the fandom, or is it scaring the audience that the artists themselves are promoting for?
Pros of gatekeeping.
With Chapter 2 armies slowly outnumbering Chapter 1 armies, the old practices that the fandom and BTS made common can disappear a little, especially now since a lot of Chapter 1 fanbases are taking a break from fandom projects alongside BTS. Without this guidance, and more importantly, without BTS present as a 7-member group, certain practices common in mainstream and K-pop fandoms can become normalized in BTS's fandom. Here's what's happening. Some of these practices have become particularly normalized during Chapter 2. It's true, but gatekeeping being an army has controlled this a little. It's not entirely out of our hands, at least not right now. Here are some examples of how the gatekeeping of BTS has prevented some negative practices from growing in the fandom.
I did not wait a year and a half to watch this in the crowd.
One of the most
crazy.
common downsides of becoming an artist with more casual listeners than dedicated fans is the dead crowds in concerts. These are venues filled with casual listeners who only know a couple of popular songs and who feel too cool to cheer or sing out loud.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I did not wait a year and a half to watch this in the crowd. It's been a year and a half! What the fuck?
It's so weird that VIP thinks they're so way too cool to do this.
Wow.
Compare this to an audience filled with fans familiar with the artist's discography and unafraid of having fun. Since Chapter 1, BTS made it very clear that the thing they enjoy the most as artists is the live concerts. They've shown that interviews, celebrity events, after parties, and pre-recorded performances are things they have to do sometimes, but they don't show much excitement about them. Sometimes they avoid them.
팝스타 막 이런 사람들은 끝나고 막 약간 막 애프터 파티하고 막 이런 게 물론 다 그렇진 않겠지만.
Yo, this is funny because I used to always think that because there are some musicians after especially after award shows, since they're all there, where they don't go to the after party. They go to the studio. Like that one year, was it 2017? When they met Pharrell for the first time, they actually went to his back room, and when he was like, well, what y'all doing? What y'all doing? When we get in the studio? What y'all doing? He dang sure meant, let's go right now. So my suggestion, or what I hope happens in this next, when they come back and they go to their next award show, or they're in the U.S. for something, for whatever, but they have some time, that they go pretty much award show, that they leave the award show, I know they're gonna do their live for Army, but they can do that from the studio. You know what I'm saying? But go to the studio with Pharrell, with Timberland, with any of the people that I'm sure the many artists and producers who want to go to the studio with them, and just go there. They can hurry up, bang out their live at the studio, and then get to making music. Just in there playing around. I would love to be a fly on the wall and see Suga and RM and Timberland, or even Dr. Dre, or just any of the producers out there. Shoot, hell, the dude did standing next to you, the dude that did Who, or the two dudes that did Who, Sleep D's, just put them all in a room after a party. They little, champagned out, and just let them make beats and make music, and then throw JK and V and Jimin and Jin just in the booth, and just say, play with it, just play with it, and let Suga just flow with it. You know how great that band session would be, or that studio session would be, and how much magic would probably come up out of there. They would probably come up out of there with a few hits and maybe an album. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be awesome. That's the type of after party I want them to do. And that's damn sure what Pharrell was hitting at when he was like, well, what y'all doing? Because we can go right now. Like, there's a studio down the street that we can go to right now and put something down. And suited and booted as they were. Let's roll. After the Grammys or something. Yo, that's how a lot of stuff happens, like that We Are the World that Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and them did with all them different artists. That was after an award show because everybody was there. Instead of going to a party, they all took their asses to the studio because Mike and Quincy and Lionel Richie asked them to, and they put down We Are the World in one night. Come on now. Like, oh, all right. I done went all off on the tangent. Let's get back to it. Let's go back a little bit. Hold up.
끝나고 막 약간 막 애프터 파티하고 막 이런 게 물론 다 그렇진 않겠지만 나에게는 그런 거 따위 없다.
But their main reason to release music is to perform in front of people.
4월 콘서트는 취소.
나 그렇잖아. 활동하고 콘서트는 나의 전부였는데 진짜.
저희 앞에 있던 투어와 모든 스케줄들이 다 취소가 되는 거 보면서 어느 정도의 우울감이 분명히 존재했다고 생각해요.
We're just here to have a good time with the armies, the actual people.
BTS likes the audience's reaction and participation. And this participation is not just singing every single word of every single song. Like many other Korean singers, BTS's label prepares fan chants for certain songs, so you don't have to know the entire lyrics, including the complicated Korean raps. You can still have fun singing the fan chants. Now, this is not mandatory. The rule is not to learn all their lyrics or all their fan chants. The rule is to be familiar with the music you're paying to see live, and most importantly, to have fun. Don't just stay there.
I don't need to know all the words. I'm gonna be jamming if the beat is
When
jammed.
JungKook of BTS started his solo tour at the beginning of 2025, his setlist included one verse, a song he released 9 years prior only on SoundCloud. So some confused new fans thought he was performing a brand new song. Even as time passed and JungKook performed this song again and again, the confusion continued. This is when the gatekeeping comments start intensifying. At this point, many would say there's no excuse to believe this is a new song or stay silent or confused when this song starts playing. Once again, BTS likes when the audience is familiar with their music. And even now, as we see more and more people who only know the most popular songs attend their events, ARMYs will not allow dead crowds to become a thing.
Oh yeah, that ain't happening.
In mainstream fandoms, fan mania is common and accepted. It is even seen as powerful. The crazier the fandom acts, the more famous the artist is. And fan mania is something fandoms are proud of. However, in the ARMY fandom, this craziness is not welcome or celebrated by fans or BTS themselves. Think of the stereotype of the screaming young fans, for example. The fandom has learned over the years that there are moments when cheering is welcomed by the BTS members, and there are moments when cheering becomes an interruption.
Is anyone...
Yeah, that's...
Don't even
don't know
I
what
hate
the
when they
question
do
is
that.
yet.
We have, for example, this 2019 iHeartRadio interview. Here, only a small group of fans got the chance to be part of the audience of a more personal interview in LA. But fans were being loud, disruptive, and worst of all, feeling the entitlement of joking about them as if they were BTS's close friends.
Which one of the guys is most likely to mess up one of their dance routines?
I'm not wrong.
All right, never mind.
I'm not wrong.
Nothing.
We are perfect.
We're perfect.
The BTS members were visibly uncomfortable by the audience's response, so this behavior was criticized by the fandom online. BTS attended the same show the following year, and although it was still a little hectic, overall, there was an improvement on the fandom's etiquette, and for what I could see, the newer, younger fans are still learning this lesson. Don't just act crazy for the sake of being crazy.
Right?
Even cheering when it's appropriate, it's a big deal.
Yeah, this is. And this
It
is
all
on
comes
TV,
down to
you know,
respect
like, come
and
on.
common sense.
Yeah.
In concerts, festivals, red carpets,
I agree with that. Like, when they're trying to do an interview or they're on a TV show, there's times to clap, and then there's time we want to hear the interaction that they're doing on the interview or show. Like, Suga shouldn't have to say calm down. Jin shouldn't have to shush you. Like, come on, Army, we can do better. And even newbies, you know better. Like, come on.
award shows, or any promoted public appearance, showing up and cheering loudly is more than welcome, as long as 1, it doesn't create a disturbance, and 2, everyone is safe, the artist and the fans. During Chapter 2, there were some instances when fans totally disregarded this safety rule.
Yeah, this was
They are
crazy,
too
too.
insistent on being
Why
the
are
main
you-
character.
when he does
they get
that,
so
let
close
go.
to the
Like,
artist
come
that it
on.
becomes completely unacceptable. Like I mentioned, these moments are heavily criticized by armies because these being common in other fandoms is not an
Yeah,
excuse.
that's-
And it's important for new armies to learn
Like
how
Jimin was
seriously the
shook in
fandom
there.
and BTS
He had to
take
turn
the
around and go
safety aspect.
backwards.
This is why self-organization
But I
was a
do
big
like that
thing for
nobody
Chapter 1
swarming.
armies. If a venue's staff is not organized, army creates their own lines, moves traffic, and starts their own initiatives. One popular initiative in the fandom is the famous Purple Ribbon Project. In 2018, a group of armies used purple ribbons to protect BTS from the crowd showing up during their arrival at LAX. The project was successful and kept the BTS members, fans, and regular passengers safe. Soon, other cities and countries joined the project, and BTS acknowledged and thanked armies for the initiative.
At the LAX, they got those purple ribbons for the security in the airport and outside the airport. They did it themselves.
They brought some purple ribbons and they kept the safety.
They did it themselves. So it was very safe.
Purple ribbons you had was a shock. They had this purple ribbon in the airport and they kept the safety from us.
This is why, if you're a new fan and don't follow these initiatives, the gatekeeping starts. You are the other one out. You are causing a disturbance. You are not a real fan.
Everybody, out of the way!
Throughout this video, I've mentioned that the fandom is not perfect, and this is why it keeps evolving. For example, the Purple Ribbon Project was an excellent initiative until it wasn't, and this has something to do with privacy. In many mainstream fandoms, knowing the personal lives of the artists is pretty common. Who are their parents, their siblings, their best friends? Where do they live? Which countries are they visiting? However, BTS has always maintained their private lives very private, and armies don't really know all of this personal information. I still don't know how many siblings the BTS members have or how their parents look like, and I ran a BTS-focused YouTube channel. My point is that armies value BTS's privacy more than any other fandom I've seen. Armies have accidentally met the BTS members in different places around the world, and they didn't say anything to anyone about their location until the BTS members themselves shared pictures, or thanked armies for pretending not to know them. When BTS had their military entrance ceremonies, they asked fans not to show up, so armies simply didn't show up. This is so rare in K-pop fandoms that even the paparazzi was surprised.
나를 잘 들어? 다시 따라가나 보다. 다시 애들이 착하니까.
Like this video shows, BTS's popularity is so big that unfortunately, people are always going to show up at airports, hotels, and different places where BTS is staying. But it's not ARMYs, it's the paparazzi, fan sites that take and even sell unauthorized pictures of BTS, and K-pop fans who don't care about the ARMY fandom etiquette. Even sharing pictures from the paparazzi or fan sites is not welcome. ARMYs don't share private stuff. There's no excuse. This is why showing up at airports is not allowed anymore. Even if the fandom follows a positive initiative, BTS's private schedule is private. Now, these are only some examples of how gatekeeping can impact BTS and the fandom in a positive way. I thought these were important things to mention because in reality, the overall conversation surrounding gatekeeping is negative. And this is because many times, artists believe that fans gatekeeping their music damages their career. And artists as big as BTS are no exception.
Yeah, let's get into the cons.
When we think about gatekeepers in general, we think of the gatekeeping being mostly done by people who feel entitled enough to decide who gets to be a fan and who doesn't. They may think who is knowledgeable enough or cool enough to be a real fan. This can be extremely damaging to a small and growing artist because their careers can disappear overnight. On the other hand, gatekeeping may not necessarily end the career of the big artist, but it can create a hostile community that even the artists themselves may be frustrated by. Big fandoms can also scare away the specific audiences the artist was promoting for. Think of how gatekeeping has prevented certain musical movements from going mainstream. Fans feeling betrayed when their band connects with the mainstream. Fans calling out people for not knowing multiple songs of the bands on their shirts.
No songs by them though.
No.
Oh, that's tough. You might want to zip up that jacket now, not let anybody.
Or being extra strict about terms and specifications of subgenres, I believe can make young people not excited for bands anymore. This is a real complaint by band members and band developers nowadays, because the new generations of fans could have been part of that mainstream audience gatekeepers are alienating. Of course, gatekeeping is only one of many factors for the decline and fall of certain fandoms, but I thought it was important to bring up because no matter how big a movement or fandom is, gatekeeping can help flip things around, and retirement or disbandment are possibilities. Of course, that would be the extreme consequence of gatekeeping an artist, and there are usually other factors that come into play as well. But expansion and growth are real goals for many artists, and working hard on promoting their music to certain audiences while their communities make it harder for them can be really demotivating. This happens in the BTS fandom a lot. Whenever someone from the general public who is apparently not a BTS fan uses a BTS song on social media, the gatekeepers of the fandom start doing their thing.
Yeah, that's
if you
crazy.
use BTS's music, you have to name 5 songs. You have to announce whether you're ARMY. And don't you dare.
As a BTS fan, I find this offensive. Not the end, this is embarrassing. Everybody say no. Wow. Like, why would you do that? Every person that does even if they aren't a serious fan, but they do a challenge to one of the men's songs, that's a stream. That's a spin. That's what gets them on the charts. Like, why would you discourage that? Doesn't make no sense to me at all.
Dare turn a BTS song into a trend. Casual listeners are not real fans and don't deserve to use BTS's music.
For BTS, they make the best song and the best dance. It's made in the trash. I can't be the only one that feels like TikTok keeps ruining good K-pop songs. Though that they do the BS Blood, Sweat, and Tears on the back. The dance for this amazing song is terrible. It's the song that's getting played, and
Music for their TikToks or edits or thirst traps. They are not knowledgeable enough or cool enough to be a real fan. And even crazier, they are not worthy enough to listen to BTS's music, even casually. The excuse for this extreme gatekeeping is repeated a million times. BTS already has a lot of real fans. They don't need new fake ones. According to them, these new audiences will turn BTS into a common artist with a common fandom that will normalize dead crowds, the bad fan etiquette, and a lack of respect for privacy. Gatekeeping may prevent these negative practices from becoming normalized in the fandom, but at what cost? To get a mainstream song, fandom is not enough. even
That's
when
true.
it comes to BTS, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, or other artists with massive dedicated fandoms. To get a hit song, you need the mainstream public. So the question is, do the BTS members want a hit song? Do they want the general public to listen to their music? Look at their actions. Like any other singer, BTS celebrates their Billboard hits. They get excited when they listen to their music on the radio. They care about nominations and awards. They keep up with trends and popular shows. They create TikTok challenges for TikTok audiences. They do hundreds of interviews with the press, although it's not their favorite part of being artists. They do all of this, and fans still want to create an obstacle between BTS and the general public. They still shame the general public for following the trend BTS worked so hard to create. They even shame the general public for creating their own trends to BTS songs, although these benefits BTS and the members celebrated themselves. It comes to a point where Gatekeeping is wishing the worst on BTS's efforts. Gatekeeping is arrogantly saying they do these radio interviews, shows, and TikTok dances for me only. I am a real fan, and if you want to join my community, you have to receive my approval. Now, maybe gatekeepers are not good at looking at the artist's actions and reading between the lines. So let's look at what BTS actually says. BTS is cautious while sharing their goals, but if you pay attention, they do.
Maybe Grammy, Billboard, Up 10.
Y'all did it. It is
While BTS always mentions ARMY first, they have said they want their music, or more specifically, certain songs to be listened to by everyone, not just their fans.
목표는 확실하고요. 대중들이 즐기는 음악을 해보자가 첫 번째였던 거. 이제 많은 분들이 굉장히 이제 힘이 빠져 있는 그런 상황이라고 생각을 했는데 발표를 하게 되었죠. 많은 분들에게 힘이 되었습니다.
We wanted to have a fun, cool song that everyone can enjoy this summer. We just all wanted to bring people from all over the world together.
J-Hope even clarified one time that for one specific song, he had certain expectations.
물론 사실 차트가 높아서 안 좋아하는 가수가 어디 있겠어요. 그러잖아요. 근데 이제 약간은 나의 뭔가 위로였고 그냥 방패막이었지. 그러니까 나는 신경을 안 쓰고 음악을 해. 내가 좋았던 거 한 거야. 그게 어떻게 보면 내 자기 위로였던 거야. 근데 그런 거는 이제 진짜 내가 내 입으로 말을 한 거야. 저 이번에는 이러한 목적이 있어서 뭐 막 이렇게 목표를 가지고 했는데 또 안 좋아도 막 기죽지 않아요. 조금 슬플 뿐. 슬픈 건 나 혼자 슬픈 거야.
Any person has expectations for things they work hard on. BTS's career is music, and they still have many goals they want to achieve. And once again, to achieve these goals, they need to reach the general public. They know it. That's why they do all these promotions. Now, what I find weird and kind of sad about this clip is that J-Hope feels the need to explain that he's a normal person with goals and expectations. He needs to explain the obvious. Like any other person, artists have hopes and dreams. Artists feel sadness and disappointment too. The fact that gatekeepers consider themselves the real fans makes this entire thing even worse, because they look at these actions and words and they still choose to gatekeep. They still decide to actively sabotage BTS's efforts. They still decide to ignore their dreams. Gatekeeping the good practices in the fandom, many say it's not real gatekeeping. It's just protecting. But whatever you want to call it, there is a positive side to limiting or regulating the entrance of new people to the fandom, to put it some way. So when is it okay to gatekeep or protect BTS from the general public and their crazy practices? Here's my answer. Pay attention to the artist's intentions. Very rarely, the artist will say what their exact goals are, but you can still look at their actions. For BTS's anniversary, the members released songs dedicated to ARMY. These can be very personal and have no big promotions. Other times, BTS releases music with touchy subjects and personal experiences that a non-ARMY wouldn't understand. Sometimes they go as far as to hide certain songs from their discography because they only want the quote-unquote hardcore armies to go out of their way to listen to these personal songs. BTS is excited to share demos that ended up not being officially released, but they do it privately. When it comes to this type of content, I believe it's okay to gatekeep. These songs were not for non-armies to listen to, and the BTS members also dislike when any type of personal content made quote solely and entirely dedicated to armies reach the mainstream and even make it to the news. They hate it. So sometimes it's necessary to gatekeep this content, but not the songs they spend hours and hours promoting. Not the songs they mention and perform when they go to late night shows and morning shows and festivals. Not the songs they dance to on social media with other celebrities. Not the songs they sing on TV again and again. Not the music they make extra visible in every interview. So be reasonable. Maybe you hate the quote-unquote normies who do the silly dances on TikTok and go see the trendy artists just to say they were there. But certain songs were made with that intention. BTS releases many songs. Why can you even allow the general public trend the few songs BTS does an extra effort on promoting? Allow BTS to reach this audience because the biggest obstacle is you.
For a called the gatekeepers out on that one, did she? Let's run that back for the one time.
Many songs. Why can you even allow the general public trend the few songs BTS does an extra effort on promoting? Allow BTS to reach this audience because the biggest obstacle
is you. Now I will say, can you turn that down, please? Ignore that, y'all. Sorry. Hope it don't block my video. See, I done lost my whole train of thought. Yeah, so one thing I did like about when I first became an army and the comments that I saw in on my videos when people were telling me like the etiquette for reactors about, letting something cook for 24 hours, music release or video before, putting out my reaction to it, so they can get their views up. Like I totally get that and I totally respect that. I did when, learning about BTS, the Purple Ribbon Project, I thought that was awesome. And I think it might actually, might need to come back for a brief time, like maybe this first year that BTS is back, because once they start touring and stuff, all the new fans who didn't watch a documentary, not because they don't like BTS, just because that's not something they do. A lot of artists, don't do all that, don't have all that content or have fans who make all that content. So, they might go to the airport, you know what I'm saying? And they might act like what a typical fan and Western, thing do and try to swarm the group and have to get Mr. Lee and crew to be blocking and pushing and all that, that is not cool. So, I think the Purple Ribbon Project might have to come back for a little bit just to show people, no, this is how we act, or just don't come to the airport at all. I think they need to give I hope Big Hit gives another disclaimer or reminder to not show up to the discharge bases that the members are be discharging from next week. So next week, y'all, can you believe that? They'll be back next week. And I do like all the information and stuff. But yeah, when J-Hope does all these TikTok challenges, dance challenges, or when Muggs likes find a song of BTS was like, "Ooh, I want to do a dance challenge for that." Why would you shame that person for doing it? All that's doing is giving BTS more streams, or giving whoever song it is, giving them more streams and adding to their charts, and getting them out there to maybe an audience that wouldn't have seen them before. Like, I never understood that, and I don't understand that. People get mad because Mugs come into BTS or like BTS just because of the guy's looks. Again, in the K-pop industry, the looks are part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, So make it make sense. That doesn't, like when they literally have a position in a group called visual. What do you think that means? Looks. They want people to come in because of the visual. Like, so you shaming somebody or trying to call them not a real fan because they found BTS because they were scrolling and saw fine ass JK in his Calvin Klein shoot photos, saw that 8-pack that he got and decided to listen to his songs. Like, who is this? Well, they came in because of looks. Like, they're no less a fan. I never understood that. And seeing the comments, like read comments on people's videos, you will be like, wow, is this Army talking like that? And it is. When people say, oh no, you can't blame Army, yes, you can. I consider myself Army, and I've seen some stuff from people who consider themselves hardcore chapter 1 armies. Like, so yeah, stop with the gatekeeping. Like, tell about the etiquette, spread the etiquette, because that sets, Army apart from most fandoms, which I love. But all the rest, spread it. If somebody's doing a trend to Mona Lisa and there's somebody who can't dance, but they still doing it, are you doing it? No. Spread that video. Like, that's all I'm saying. All right, y'all. We rambled enough. Bora, great video essay as usual. Hit that like button if y'all liked it. Let me know in the comments what y'all feel. How y'all feel about gatekeeping. Have you gatekeeped? Are you a gatekeeper? Be honest. Let me know. If this is more than your first video of mine, and if you lasted this long through my rambling, you obviously one of my people. So hit that subscribe button. Come on, it's free. It helps me out. Also, and more importantly, click on that notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I drop. If you think someone else would enjoy this reaction, sharing is caring. So pass it on. Pass it on. All right, y'all. I will see you in the next one. Peace. Annyeong, Borahey, and happy Festa!